I first remember going to New York City for the very first time to visit my Uncle John. I hadn't really spent much time with him before, and I was really excited to go mainly because I would get to see him, and also I was getting to go to my first gay pride parade in New York City. I was probably about 14, and my uncle had emphysema. He would live for probably another maybe 7 years after this. I think it was one of my most proud moments when I was able to push him in his wheelchair in the Gay Pride Parade in New York City. I remember two of his friends came over. My uncle had been in the New York City Gay Men's Chorus his entire adult life and had strong, deep relationships with the people in there, even though his illness made it so he was no longer able to sing with them. And I remember his friends coming over, and one of them was his caretaker. And they had the most fun dressing me up and with, some of my uncle's drag wear, and also dressing my uncle up. And I knew that my uncle was a gay cross-dresser. I didn't really know everything that meant when I was that age, but I knew that he was one, but I had never seen a drag queen in person, I don't think. And I definitely had never seen my uncle in person as a drag queen. And so she became the Duchess, and she had bright, I think it was blue eyeshadow, and she had a gorgeous short blonde wig, red lipstick. I can't remember what she was wearing, but the picture will show it. And she looked beautiful. My uncle, the Duchess, always had the most beautiful cheekbones. I think they run on my father's side of the family, and she really knew how to dress them up. And so I remember going out in, what I would never ever normally wear, and pushing my uncle in the New York City Gay Pride Parade, and seeing people dressed up in leather and rainbows everywhere. And it wasn't just how people looked that was intriguing to me and exciting to me, but it was also the spirit of the event and how happy people were and how proud people were. I don't know that I fully understand what it meant to be gay. I probably did, maybe in just the most intellectual way, or the most basic way, but I didn't really understand the context or the history or the culture of it. And so that experience was really informative to me, and it's definitely something that has informed who I am as a queer person. I didn't know that I was queer when I was that age, but I think that attending Pride with my uncle and being able to proudly stand with him and see him in the context of his community, which is something that I had never seen before, because my family wasn't very close with him. I think that really shaped what I knew and what I was willing to continue to learn about the queer community. It's hard to say whether or not I would be queer, if I wouldn't have attended that. But it definitely deepened my passion and my willingness to want to go back to rural Wisconsin and fight for people's rights like my uncle. My uncle was an amazing man. There's actually a New York Times article written about him called "A Good Death," and it captured in photographs his final days in Manhattan in the Village, and the photographs are really beautiful. And I sometimes think about him and his life and what that means in my family's legacy and in my legacy. My uncle, he moved away when he was in early adulthood to the Village, and I think it was because he knew that my family wouldn't necessarily accept him. At least parts of us wouldn't, and he didn't really keep in contact. And so being able to go see him was extremely special. He had a partner who was a black man who, with my white uncle with a black man, in a same-sex relationship that started probably in the 70s. I think that they faced a lot of challenges together. My uncle's partner, he worked in the United Nations, and my uncle was really proud of him. And then in the 90s, my uncle's partner passed away from HIV-related illness. And it absolutely crushed my uncle. I don't think that he ever was fully committedly partnered again, that I know of at least. And I often think about how my family would have been so much richer, and so it would have been so much different if I would have had the opportunity to know my uncle's partner, and if he would have been my uncle. He's never referred to in my family as my uncle, but I kind of wish that he was, because it would have shown that my family cared enough about who my uncle is to accept who he loves. And so I should probably start just calling my uncle's partner my other uncle, I guess. It feels weird since I never met him. But yeah, I think that has also sort of informed my own queerness in some ways, because I've seen what it's like when people have to hide parts of themselves with, their family or the people who are supposed to care the most about them. And it can be so harmful to a person. And so I guess that kind of leads me to who I am and why I do what I do. And yeah, I won't forget ever the summer that I got to go and visit my uncle in his perfect apartment with his cats in the Village in New York City, and get all dressed up with him and his friends in the Gay Men's Chorus, and push him in the parade. Thanks.